Hello and welcome to our deep dive into one of the most volatile and complex geopolitical situations unfolding right now, the escalating conflict between Pakistan and the Afghan Taliban. For decades, these two were seen as close allies, but that relationship has fractured, and now they're on the brink of something much more serious. We're talking airstrikes, border clashes, and fiery rhetoric. So what happened? How did we get here, and what does it mean for the region and the world? Stick around as we unravel this tangled web. Let's start with the recent events that have brought this conflict to a boil. In mid-March, Pakistan launched a series of airstrikes inside Afghan territory. According to Islamabad, these strikes targeted hideouts of the Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan, or TTP, a group responsible for a wave of deadly attacks inside Pakistan. These weren't just minor incursions. Reports from Afghanistan claimed that civilians, including women and children, were killed in the provinces of Khost and Paktika. The Afghan Taliban government naturally was furious. Their defense ministry condemned the strikes as a violation of sovereignty and warned very bad consequences that Pakistan would be unable to control and retaliate. The Taliban's military fired heavy weapons across the border, leading to clashes with Pakistani forces and casualties on both sides. This isn't the first time things have gotten heated, but the scale and intensity of this exchange mark a dangerous new chapter. To understand why this is happening now, we need to talk about the TTP, the Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan. Though it shares the Taliban name and a similar ideology with the Afghan group, is a separate entity focused on overthrowing the Pakistani state and establishing its own rule based on a strict interpretation of Islamic law. For years, Pakistan accused the previous US-backed Afghan government of sheltering the TTP. The key part of Pakistan's long-standing support for the Afghan Taliban was the belief that once they were in power, they would crack down on the TTP and secure Pakistan's western border. That was the deal, at least in Islamabad's eyes. Reality has turned out to be quite different. Since the Afghan Taliban swept back into power in August 2021, attacks by the TTP inside Pakistan have surged dramatically. We're talking about a more than 60% increase in attacks in the first year and a 73% rise in fatalities. Last year alone, there were over 2,300 casualties in Pakistan due to terrorist violence. The TTP has grown bolder, more organized, and better equipped, partly with American weapons left behind during the chaotic O's withdrawal. They've been able to operate with a degree of freedom from Afghan soil, using it as a safe haven to plan and launch attacks. Pakistan has repeatedly handed lists of TTP leaders to the Afghan Taliban demanding action, but to no avail. The Taliban government publicly denies sheltering the TTP, but the evidence on the ground tells a different story. So why isn't the Afghan Taliban cracking down on the TTP? The relationship between them is complicated. They are ideological brothers in arms. During the 20-year war against the US and its allies, TTP fighters fought alongside the Afghan Taliban. They share tribal connections, particularly among the Pashtun communities that straddle the border. For the Afghan Taliban, turning violently against the TTP would be seen as a betrayal by many of their own foot soldiers. It could cause internal fractures and even push TTP members into the arms of a more dangerous rival, the Islamic State Khorasan Province, or ISKP. The Taliban solution so far has been to try and mediate talks between the TTP and Pakistan, a strategy that has repeatedly failed. Pakistan is no longer interested in talking. It wants action. This brings us to the Durand Line, the 2,670-kilometer border that has been a source of contention for over a century. Drawn by the British in 1893, no Afghan government, including the Taliban, has ever officially recognized it as the international border. They see it as an artificial line that divides the Pashtun. This dispute is a constant undercurrent in their relationship. Clashes frequently erupt over Pakistan's efforts to fence the border. The Taliban see the fence as an attempt to legitimize the Durand Line, while Pakistan sees it as essential for its national security to stop militants from crossing over. Every meter of fence building is a political statement, and every skirmish over it deepens the mistrust. Pakistan's patience has clearly run out. The recent airstrike signaled a major policy shift. For years, Pakistan pursued a policy of strategic depth in Afghanistan, aiming to have a friendly, pro-Pakistan government in Kabul to counter its arch-rival, India. That strategy has backfired spectacularly. The very group they supported for decades is now presiding over a territory that provides sanctuary to Pakistan's deadliest enemies. The new government in Pakistan, led by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, and the powerful military establishment seem to have reached a consensus. The threat from the TTP is existential, and if the Afghan Taliban won't act, Pakistan will. Defense Minister Khawaja Asif's stark statement that Pakistan will retaliate for any cross-border attacks, regardless of the consequences, leaves no room for ambiguity. The regional implications of this are huge. A full-blown conflict between Pakistan and Afghanistan would be catastrophic. Both countries are facing severe economic crises and humanitarian challenges. A war would destabilize the entire region, creating a massive refugee crisis, providing fertile ground for transnational terrorist groups like ISPP and Al-Qaeda to thrive. China, a major investor in the region with its Belt and Road initiative, is watching nervously. Beijing has significant interests in both countries and has been trying to mediate, but the deep-seated animosity makes that a difficult task. India, Pakistan's rival, is also observing closely, as instability on Pakistan's western border could have knock-on effects for the entire Sabah. The United States, having withdrawn from Afghanistan, has limited leverage but remains concerned about the resurgence of terrorism. So what happens next? There are a few possible scenarios. The best case, though perhaps least likely, scenario is that the Afghan Taliban, under pressure, finally takes decisive action against the TTP. This could involve disarming them, relocating them away from the border, or even cracking down on their leadership. This would de-escalate the situation, but as we discussed, it carries significant internal risks for the Taliban. A more probable scenario is the continuation of this low-intensity conflict, a cycle of TTP attacks followed by Pakistani retaliatory strikes. This is a dangerous state of limbo that could easily spiral out of control with one major miscalculation. The worst-case scenario is a full-scale border war. While neither side truly wants this, national pride, political pressure, and escalating military actions could push them down that path. In conclusion, the alliance of convenience between Pakistan and the Afghan Taliban is over. It has been replaced by a dangerous rivalry fueled by the TTP's safe havens, historical border disputes, and a fundamental breakdown of trust. Pakistan has moved from a policy of strategic depth to one of direct military action, a clear sign of its desperation and frustration. The Afghan Taliban are caught between their ideological ties to the TTP and the demands of governing a state, which includes maintaining peaceful relations with its neighbors. The path forward is fraught with peril, and the choices made in Islamabad and Kabul in the coming weeks and months will have profound consequences, not just for their own people, but for the security and stability of the entire region. The world is watching, hoping that diplomacy and reason can prevail before it's too late. Thank you for watching. What do you think is the solution to this complex conflict? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this analysis helpful, please like this video and